Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Mount Deurklink. Now, something that's still missing in this park is a nice launched coaster. So in this episode I'm going to make an Intamin Accelerator coaster. I was planning to put it right over here in this area, so here will be the station. There will be a launch up a big top hat here. And then, I don't want to return it right back to the station. So it will have sort of a loop around the chairlifts here, just to provide some nice interaction. And after that I would just want to make it go around this area here. Maybe I'll wrap it around the path with a nice inversion as well. And after that it will simply go back to the station. I'll try not to enclose a big area with the coaster. I'll try to keep it nice and compact, just so it's easier for me to build other stuff in this area later. Alright, I will now just begin with the station, and I'll try to make it look like a nice coaster. Alright, this is the layout of the coaster. Now, I went with the stand-up coaster trains mostly because they look the most like the Intamin Accelerator trains that they use on their Accelerator coasters. Now, of course, I will have to use a different kind of track for this type of coaster, because this is B&M track and not Intamin track. I will also test the coaster while it's a Giga coaster. Because with the Giga coaster you'll have different launch speeds, so it makes no sense to test it with the Twister coaster track. So I will just launch it through the layout now, see how it goes, and if all goes well, I will fill in the gaps that are left, because the Giga coaster doesn't have all these elements. Alright, I'm quite happy with how this coaster goes through the layout. I did put some chain lifts here on this track here just to speed it up a little bit, because it was really slow here. So what I'm going to do now is I will overlay some track over these invisible parts, just to make sure that those parts look nice again. And then I will work on the launch track. Okay, as you can see, the gaps in the track have now been filled in. So here I used the launched coaster track. Now I typically prefer to use this track for merges over the B&M coaster track, but of course it really depends on which elements are available to you. The limb launched coaster track, for example, doesn't have these large half loops or these barrel rolls, so here I had to use B&M coaster track. Yeah, there's a slight mismatch between these two tracks, the limb launched coaster track and the Giga coaster track. They have a much better flow into each other. But it is what it is. We'll have to work with the limitations of the game. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the launch track look a bit nicer. It's an accelerator coaster, so that means it doesn't have these booster fins, but it should have cable launch. So I'll make it look like there's an actual launch track here. Okay, now that the launch track is done, I think it's time to make some nice supports for the top head. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this. I'll just play with some types of supports and see if I can find something that will fit well here. Okay, I think this works quite well for custom supports. I kinda like the way this looks. I don't often use these pipe pieces like this, but I think it's a nice combination here. I think this is believable enough to be used as custom supports for the top hat of the track. Okay, I think for now I will focus on doing the landscaping around this coaster, just so it fits in here a bit nicer. And if I then still have time, I will also do the station of the ride. Alright, I've made a transfer track here. Now, what kind of transfer track is it? This is one of those transfer tracks with a piece here that can flip upside down. So when it's rotated upside down, the straight piece is here, connects here, so the train can be rolled onto this part here. And if it's the other way around like it is now, then this curved track is actually connected. So yeah, there's many different kinds of transfer tracks you can make, but this is also one of them. Okay, I've now built the station for the coaster and also the queue line. What's now left to do is to add some nice landscaping to the coaster, and of course we'll need some extra fences, etc. But to finish off this episode, I will just put many trees and plants around it, and yeah, I think that will be enough for this episode since it's already getting quite long. And in future episodes, I'll probably do an episode where I will just clean up several areas, and then this coaster area will for sure also be in it. Alright, I'll leave the episode at this. I think I've done enough building for today, and for sure in one of the future episodes I will touch up this area a little bit more. But for now I'm really happy with how it looks. Now once again, the type of coaster that I've built here is an Intamin Accelerator coaster. I've made a tutorial on how to make one of these if you want to build one yourself, and we have also done a contest where everybody had to make one of these coasters. So, yeah, in the beginning, of course, there's this launch. Now, normally these coasters are launched with a cable system. So that's also why I didn't use any booster fins. These coasters are now not being made anymore because modern coasters typically have launch fins, magnetic launch systems. As for the type of coaster car, well, I've used stand-up coaster cars here. So normally in these types of coasters, guests are not standing up, but these cars simply look the most like the Intamin coaster cars that are typically used on these kind of coasters. So that's why I've used these cars. Of course, they look a bit wonky in these inversions because they don't really have sprites for these barrel rolls, but I think it looks convincing enough to be used like this, and I really like the way this looks. So, I named the coaster Gale Force, by the way. I think that will be a nice name for it. Okay, for the rest of the episode, let's just follow one of these trains throughout the layout. I hope you enjoyed watching me build, and I'll see you again in the next episode. See you later.